All right, today we're back working on Gooch again. The thing we wanted to do today, a couple different little things. There's a lot to do, obviously, but while the body is completely bare, like this, we wanted to go ahead and see where our fuel cell is going to go. So we built a CAD designed fuel cell, of course, cardboard aided design, always coming in clutch. So we built a fuel cell, and we're trying to figure out where we want the placement to go. So we got a couple options for that. The original gas tank was under the back seat, right underneath this. With the drive shaft coming through there now, we obviously had to remove that. So we're looking for a place to put our 15-gallon fuel cell. And so our options are under this seat or under where the spare tire well is. Obviously, it cannot go inside the car with us. Just because you cannot have a fuel system inside the car, you would have to have it separated by some type of firewall or self-contained. So if we wanted it to go in the back of the car, we would have to build a little surrounding area to kind of enclose it by itself. I'm not a huge fan of that. I'd rather just cut out where I need to cut out, raise the floor, and just have the fuel cell and the fuel system under the car. So that's what we're looking at today, is kind of where we can put this fuel cell. It's a very generic shaped fuel cell, nothing fancy. Obviously, we can get different shapes of fuel cell. This is just kind of the most generic, cheapest version of the cheapest fuel cell we can get, because a fuel cell, let's be honest, it holds gasoline. Yes, there are baffles and foam inside of certain types. They have different setups, but for our fuel cell in this car, we're going very simple. It doesn't have to be super advanced. So we're going a very generic shape, and we're trying to figure out where to place that. So one more contingency here is the rear subframe. Obviously, the strut bolts over there, over here on this side. So the subframe will be under this part of the car. So I think we're actually going to get our tubular subframe and bolt it up to see under the car where the fuel cell could fit, either in front of or behind it. We've got to avoid the subframe. We've got to avoid the drive shaft. Those are the biggest things that are going to get in our way. And that's kind of what we're looking at today. Hey, Cody.
Hey.
All right, under the rear of the car here, we went ahead and got our tubular subframe bolted on. Looking around, zoom out a little bit. This is where the spare tire well is. So we can either go behind here. I think the furthest thing back, there's going to be some suspension arms off of here, and the rear diff bolts go in here, and it's held in the middle. So I think everything back here is clear, but we just don't have a ton of room. Grab the fuel cell. Well, it's at least contained in between the frame rails and in front of the rear crash bar. The crash bar bolts here and runs across. So it would be in there. It's sitting a little low, but we could cut this out and raise it up in there right behind this bar and let it sit right up in here. Of course, we'll be replacing the floor if we end up cutting that out, and we could raise the floor of the car up a little bit, and that would tuck this nicely up in there. Is that a little thinner that way or no? One of the sides is shorter than the other.
Like that?
Yeah. Yep, I think that's how it would end up going. And then as far as in front of the subframe, we have where the old fuel tank was. The only issue with that is if we try to tuck it inside the frame rails,
we'll hit this subframe, be in the way of the drive shaft.
Yeah, the drive shaft would come right next to it, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I think we're going to end up going in the very back, Cody.
Yes, sir. I think that's just about our only option there.
Yep. So to raise it up, you know what that means.
We can cut this pan out.
Yep.
Set it up in there, make sure our height is right, make sure we ain't got to raise the floor a little bit. Hopefully we can just put a solid piece on top of it coming back. Might put some hinges on it.
Yeah, to
maybe.
Get to the fuel cell. Sure.
Yeah.
Some way to remove the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have some way to remove it in case we ever need to work on the fuel cell or do anything on the top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have a little bit of room above it for all of our fittings coming out the top of the tank.
Yep, the vents and stuff like that.
Hoses, stuff like that. And you were saying you want to try to use your factory fuel neck,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, if we can get the entire fuel cell beneath where the filler cap is, then we can use the factory filler neck to run into the fuel cell.
That'd be pretty sweet.
And yeah, I'd like to use that. It's still there, not a huge deal. I don't want to open the car and remove the floor or something every time.
Move stuff around or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So I guess the next step is to cut this floor out of here. All right, looking trunk hatch of the car. You might see a drill bit popping up every once in a while. So Cody's under the car drilling a hole every few inches. It lets us know for sure where to cut. So from up here, we're not accidentally cutting into the frame somewhere. We're just cutting out this section of metal for the spare tire. Cody. Holy crap!
Got plenty of room for activities.
Yeah, I think we can fit something back here. All right, let's put the subframe back in.
Yeah.
Kind of see what kind of room we're working with.
Okay.
What do you think, Cody? Level it side to side a little bit, it's tilted. Something like right in there. So that's the size of the fuel cell in the back of the car. We've got a little bit of clearance off the subframe here. And then we got a little bit of room to work with back here. So obviously we could cut some more of that metal out to slide it back a little farther, kind of notch it, smooth it out a little bit to move it back, just to keep it off this subframe. And then basically for under the car, the bottom of the cell would be a above the subframe, right here. It would be above the frame rails of the car. So if the car ever happened to bottom out somehow, the tank is not the lowest point under the car. Okay, we'll have it tilted back a little bit. So all the fuel will go to the back, and that's where our fuel pickups are going to be, at the back of the tank. I think that's going to do it right there. So now as far as mounting it, we've got a frame rail on each side of the car, so we could run some straps underneath, right? And then mount that fuel cell down into those straps, and they're just holding it to the bottom of the car. And that would be what holds this fuel cell in the car. What do you think, Cody?
Easy as that.
Yeah, simple. Very simple.
Another thing we was talking about, to use the original fuel neck. There's a frame rail right here in the way, so we can't really come underneath it. But we'll have to cut like a hole over here. Again, it can't be exposed to the interior of the car, so we'll just go out and build like a little cover tunnel.
Yep.
Nothing to it, it's fine, but because this part's going to get welded back, so it'll be in here, come right through here.
Yep, easy
like
peasy.
that.
The cell is still beneath the filler,
Yep.
so we can absolutely still use that. Just figure, like you said, figure out a way to get that filler neck over here to the cell. All right, the next thing we're working on, a little more weight. As you can see, Cody's taping up the windshield here to protect it. This wiper cowl, obviously for this car, no longer needed. We do not have wipers. We do not have any defrosting or anything like that. The hood actually comes back right here to the front of this cowl. So when we cut this out, this will actually be open, which is fine by me because any air coming in the front can easily vent out of here. Probably help it stay a little cooler with a big opening in the back like that. And we're gonna have a lot more room to be able to get back in here to work on the turbo, which is actually underneath this thing. So I don't really need this. We're gonna hack it out of there.
It's one way to do it. I need a battery.
Well, you need a helmet on. Why don't you stare at it a little harder?
Kind of shocked me a little bit.
Scared me too. Like, dang, now who's gonna work on it?
right there that we can't really see. Don't look like the other one.
Yeah. There she is.
Okay, we gotta figure out how to get in the lee sides or something, so.
Yeah, there's some holding it over here on the side.
Yeah.
Somewhere in here. And then back there. Making progress though.
Yeah, a little bit at a time. All right.
How much of this one's loose? All the way to right past it.
I think there might be one right in here somewhere. It's just hard to see. Yeah, I think there's one right in there somewhere.
It looks like it's moving. It's all right. We'll put it out in sections.
Yes, sir.
Yep, little by little. Well, we're making good progress.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Piece by piece, right?
Yes, sir. Looks like a mess right now, but just give us a few minutes.
Between the drill, the grinder, a hammer, some pry bars,
Yeah.
bit by bit, it's coming out. So there's of course the back we cut out. There's all the pieces we've cut off the wiper cowl so far. A little bit at a time. You working this side, I'm working that side.
Yeah. TJ got mad at me. I hit the strut tower with the cut off wood.
Yeah, stop cutting my strut towers.
It's okay. We got a welder.
Yeah.
I'll glob it back.
Yeah.
Make it look nice and fancy.
Stop cutting the important stuff. Just cut the bad stuff. All right, I'm gonna put the camera down so we can work twice as fast.
Let's get it.
Let's get this thing out of here.
Yes, sir.
All right, what do you think?
I like it.
You like it?
I like it.
There it is. No cowl. I like it. It's a lot more room. And we went and looked. We've got another Caliber outside. We went and looked. There's probably about 2.5, 3 inches of clearance behind the hood right there. Basically just where the wipers sit in that cowl. That's the opening we're gonna have now behind the hood. So I still think it's gonna look fine.
Yeah.
And it's gonna give us more venting that hot air out of the engine bay too. So big fan of that. Obviously we got to put a piece of sheet metal over that vent right there, whatever that was for. I think defrost or something maybe. I have no idea. But yeah, so moving forward, the next couple steps is going to be welding up all the holes, fixing some of the jagged edges and everything. Basically just getting this thing ready just to paint it and then start adding stuff back to it. I think we're going to start at the front, motor, engine, transmission, subframe. Move to the back with rear subframe diff so we can get the drive shaft in it. We can mount the fuel cell. That's going to tell us where all of our running gear is going to be. Our fuel system is going to be located. And then from there we can do the final touch-up pieces here and there to get this thing finalized. What do you think about that?
Yeah, can't wait.
Do you want to show them a little spoiler up under that right there? You want to show them? Give them a little sneak peek, not the whole thing. Just a little sneak peek. Whoop, whoop, whoop. That'll be for a future video, but there's a little sneak peek of what's to come.
That's
so
right.
All right, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.